Hey, good morning, guys. This is April with the Resellers Learning Curve, and I know some of you have to be thinking, what is going on here? Why is she recording videos every single day all of a sudden? Well, it's like anything else. Once you get in the habit of doing something, it's just a lot easier to do it. And for some reason, I've kind of adjusted my morning schedule and my morning routine in such a way that I have time to record. But I've always promised you guys that I will never ever just record videos just randomly, just to blabble on about nothing. So as per the usual, I do have a point to this video today. And the point that I actually have two things. I'm going to put two things in this video because once again, I always want the videos that I make for you guys to have value. But the first thing I was thinking is I put on this shirt. As you guys can see, you might remember it yesterday from my haul video. This was the Gap shirt. The manufacturer suggested retail price was $64.95, I believe. I got this at TJ Maxx or Marshall's for $8, and I kept it because it's a white button front shirt, and I have a job at an office, so I can always use button front shirts, and I like it because it has the silver beads on it, so it's a little bit different. And obviously you can see my tank top underneath it, which is Eileen Fisher, because I've been thrifting a ton of Eileen Fisher recently, and I have kept several of the tank tops and camisoles for myself. What I usually try to do when I buy a bunch of something, or there's something that I feel like I want or need, is I always find a way to source enough to pay for my stuff with the stuff that I resell. So just let me give you an example. Say I go to a consignment store and I spend $75. I'm gonna be sure that if I'm keeping $15 worth of stuff, that I'm able to make that up with the things that I sell, because that's just me. I grew up pretty poor. I never had nicer things. I'm not gonna say nice things, but I never had nicer things growing up. So I'm just not used to them. And I'm a mom of 2 kids who always seem to need something. So I never ever feel okay keeping things for myself. I always want to sell them and turn it into money that I can channel into my family's goals and ambitions, because you know, my family does have goals and ambitions. I'm not the only one trying to accomplish something around here. So I feel guilty. And so as such, I always find a way to pay for my stuff with the stuff that I resell. But back to the shirt. So as you can see, this has a collar. This collar does not have buttons on it. And so the reason for this video today is I wanted to discuss the difference between a button front shirt and a button down shirt. Because one of the things that I talked about, I know back in December when I was trying to shop on eBay for Christmas gifts, is people not describing their items correctly, not categorizing them correctly. As such, when folks like me as a shopper goes to eBay and tries to find the items that I need, I can't really find them, or I'll click on something. Yesterday I made an offer on a pair of boots that were a size 6.5. I don't know why these boots were in my search results, considering that I wear a size 11, and I searched brown boots size 11 and I checked the item specifics for size 11, but I still ended up with boots in my search results that were a size 6.5, and I don't know why these things are happening other than lack of attention to detail. So today I'm discussing the difference between a button front, which this is. It can be called a button front or a button up. Either one. Those terms are fairly interchangeable because you have buttons down the front, or you can just button your shirt all the way up. Button front, button up. So as an example, what I have here is a shirt that I listed last night to show you what a button down is. So you see this button here? These are those Peter Millar shirts that I picked up for $10 at Marshall's. That button there at the collar is what makes a shirt a button down. You will never see a dress shirt, a men's dress shirt, that doesn't have the button downs. Initially, those were created for polo players so that when they're riding the horses, their collar wouldn't be flapping. They had a very functional use initially. Nowadays, not so much functional. It's not a functional use. It's more stylistic, and it's more to differentiate casual shirts from dress shirts. This I would still very much consider to be a casual shirt, but it is a button down. And you know a button down when it has the buttons on the collar that keep the collar from flapping. This is a button up because it does not have buttons on the collar to keep the collar from flapping. So if I were to play polo and ride horses today, my collar would flap. Thankfully, I have no plans to play polo or ride horses today, so I don't have that worry. The next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is something that was mentioned in my group recently. I want to say that somebody posted a picture of a plaid Pendleton shirt that they recently picked up, and they were trying to nail down pricing information. Just as a warning, a tip, an FYI, if you come to the group, the Resellers Learning Curve, and you post asking, what should I price this at? Please do not be surprised if my first question to you is, what did your research tell you? I do not ask that to be snarky. I ask that to understand what research you've done, where you're kind of leaning, and to kind of point you in the direction where I think it would be most helpful. I'm not asking it in a snarky way, so don't ever take it personal if I ask you, what did your research tell you? Because there's a very good reason that I'm asking. But someone posted a Pendleton, I want to say it was a cotton plaid shirt, and they were trying to figure out the pricing information. So as we discussed that, I said to them, you know, this reminds me, I've wanted to create a video about how all items are not created equal. When I first started reselling, I would pick up anything that was Pendleton, anything that was Orvis, anything that was Woolrich, and that's definitely not the way to do this, guys. You don't want to just pick up anything because you know the brand, you've heard of the brand. And that's another reason that when people ask, well, what brand should I be on the lookout for? I never give a definitive answer because there is no definitive answer. You shouldn't be on the lookout for any specific brands. Within brands, there are things that make them unique and make them desirable. And that's what I want us to try to figure out. That's where the learning curve comes in. Over time, you'll know. I know myself and a lot of other clothing pickers that kind of trained me, that I grew up with, would never pick up a cotton Pendleton shirt unless it was in new with tag condition and super, super cheap. Why? Because Pendleton woolen mills is not known for their cotton. that's not their thing. They're known for their wool. If you can find, I encourage you also to do some research. Look up Pendleton and search from highest to lowest and see what sells the best from that brand. See, this is the kind of thing that I do all the time. If I have a spare moment here or there, I research these things because it's very eye-opening, and there are things of Pendleton that sell really, really well that you may have seen, but you may not have even known that you were looking at. I know they make these Native American print blankets that are just everything and then some. If you come across one of those joints, that could be a couple $100, but you wouldn't know what you were looking at unless you did the research beforehand and had nailed down what the most valuable Pendleton items were. So to that end, I want to show you guys this sweater I picked up probably a little bit of time ago. This is a women's sweater. The brand is Woolrich. This is a women's large. It's not a large like I wear a large because I'm like a long tall large. This is more of a wider large. This is I want to say this would be called kind of Nordic. I would have to do the research on it again because I've forgotten exactly the keywords that would be used on such an item since I've done the research, and I've had this laying around for quite some time. Okay, so you look at the tag here. This is going to tell you a ton. Let me see if it'll zoom. Focus. No, it's not focusing for me. So as you can probably not see, this is made in the USA, which is a huge selling point when you get into Woolrich items. Pendleton and Woolrich, if you find items that are made in the USA, that seems to add a little bit to the value. But this is 85% wool, 15% nylon. And it's a really nice sweater. It'll do well. It'll do well because it's wool rich. And what is wool rich known for? They're known for their wool. And the sweater is just awesome sauce. Look at that. Love it. So that's the other thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about this morning. Not everything from every brand is created equal. A good example of that, Coach. You find a fairly recent, fairly sought after Coach purse, you can sling it in a day or two, depending on the purse. I don't sell Coach purses. They don't do well for me. I don't carry Coach purses either, which is why when I recently won that Coach purse in a raffle at a consignment store, I gifted it to someone for Christmas, and it absolutely made their Christmas. But I'm not a Coach girl. I'm a Dooney and Burke girl. So if you have awesome Dooney and Burkes, holla at your girl. I love Dooney and Burke purses. But be forewarned, I usually find them for $15 or under at my local Goodwill or consignment store. So if you're trying to get top dollar, I'm not your girl. But if you got some Dooney sitting around and you're not quite sure what to do, holla at your girl. But Coach makes awesome purses. People love Coach purses. If you see Coach shoes, don't even do it. Don't even do it to yourself. Like, I've listed Coach shoes and had them listed for a year plus, and they do absolutely nothing. Why? Coach isn't known for their shoes. Another one, Michael Kors. Michael Kors handbags, you can do pretty well. Michael Kors clothing and shoes, not so much. Not so much. Another good example, Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren clothing does pretty well. Ralph Lauren shoes and boots, not so much. Why? Because you have to really think about what companies are good at, what their niche is, what they specialize at, and what people are looking for from that company. No, not very many people are going to eBay to buy a pair of Coach shoes. Like, Coach has been making shoes for quite some time. They've never really caught on. They're not considered to be sought after. So you want to keep those sorts of things in mind. So that's the video that I wanted to make for you guys today. It's two-part. Number one, button front versus button down with the buttons. And number two, not all items in a brand are created equal, which is part of the reason that someone can just hand you a list of brands and send you out and you kill it sourcing. Because who knows, you might come back with a cart full of cotton Pendleton and you can't really move that. But if you find a really excellent condition 100% wool Pendleton board shirt, you can move that because those are always in demand. On that note, I hope you guys are having an awesome January. I hope you're out there sourcing. Keep me updated on what you're finding as far as yellow tags. I have to get back up that way later this week. I have probably 6 or 7 things that I have to finish listing, and I'm not allowing myself to buy any more things until I get all the things listed. So hopefully I can get off this video, get 2 or 3 items listed before work, and that'll put me that much closer to sourcing. So on that note, have a beautiful Tuesday, and I will talk to you guys soon. Later.